The human Iggy theory. This is Iggy. In case you aren't aware, Iggy is a character from the manga and anime series known as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, written by Hirohiko Araki. He is first introduced in Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, when he joins the main team of heroes on their quest to defeat the all-powerful stand user named Dio. He joins in around the halfway point of the part and later becomes a critical member of the team, as he is the one to lead them to Dio's mansion, and he personally takes part in winning several battles, most notably against Vanilla Ice, where he gives his life to save his close friend Jean-Pierre Polnareff. Today, I want to pose a question that's been gnawing at the back of my mind ever since I first read the manga and watched the anime. Is Iggy a human? Now, before you laugh at me and click away, hear me out. This dog is weird. I mean, not like weird, but for a dog, even in a setting as bizarre as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Iggy really stands out from the rest of the canines we see. I mean, just look at his creepy, uncanny valley face. Ugh. Let me explain what I mean. So, this mutt really loves gum. Coffee-flavored gum, to be exact. Now, this may not seem strange at first glance, but when you stop and think about it for a second, it's, 1, pretty strange for a dog to have a chewing gum habit, and 2, why coffee flavor? I mean, we all love coffee, but is that really something that a dog would even care about? Now, don't get me wrong, I've seen plenty of dogs that are very particular in what they eat and how they sleep, but this specific habit is honestly just weird. We also see proof several times that Iggy doesn't really like to eat normal dog food. He only really eats stuff like cake and sandwiches and gum. I know most dogs will eat like anything, but Iggy specifically seeks out human food to steal because that's what he eats. Because he's a human. Iggy is a stand user. Iggy's stand is the fool. Iggy is really scary when he's angry. More to the point, when Iggy is really ticked off or being attacked by another stand user, he is actually really intelligent and quick-witted when it comes to strategy and planning. In his battle with Pet Shop, he is shown to repeatedly be able to plan quickly in the moment while also observing his surroundings and taking everything else into account. Now, I know what you're going to say next. But what about Pet Shop? Well, let's just say I have my own theory about why Pet Shop is as deadly as he is. But that's a video for another day. So, what's the whole point of all this? Well, we can clearly see right before his fight with Pet Shop that quote-unquote normal dogs do exist in this world, and they're actually pretty stupid when it comes to recognizing danger. Iggy, however, immediately upon seeing Pet Shop for the first time, knows exactly how dangerous he is and surveys the situation like, say, a human would. Iggy also shows a will to protect those in need, which is definitely a huge part of most canine personalities, yes, but from the inner monologue we hear during this fight, Iggy is aware of the entire situation, including Dio's mansion being a dangerous place to be, Pet Shop being a guard bird, and what Pet Shop will do if he catches this kid. Heck, When he first meets the kid, he says, "Shut up, don't ask me, I'm a dog. I couldn't answer you even if I wanted to." Again, I know this is just a throwaway line, but think about it for a second. I can't answer you? To me, this implies that Iggy previously did have the ability to answer idiot kids and their idiot questions, but at the present, he is no longer capable. Luckily for the kid, Iggy still jumps to his defense even though he thinks he's a moron, which is another human concept, but most dogs, when protecting, are simply protecting their alphas out of pure instinct and attachment. Here, Iggy's thoughts could be swapped out for any humans and still make complete and total sense. He even says something here about wanting to settle down with a girl and get a place of his own. Settle down with a girl? Those are human desires, Iggy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think dogs mate for life or anything like that. I'm pretty sure they'll just mate with whatever dog is nearest in heat. And sometimes when they aren't in heat. But here's Iggy thinking about his American dreams of settling down with a nice family and a nice home, which begs the question, what other dog is he ever going to find that thinks on the same level as he does? Another dog that doesn't care about anything else that a dog does, but does care about these human desires? Iggy, you're weird. This one is admittedly a pretty small detail, but Iggy totally references Bruce Lee during the pet shop fight. Why, may I ask, does Iggy know who Bruce Lee is? Why does Iggy understand what a movie is? Why does Iggy know how to make a snarky reference like this? I know this is a small thing to get hung up on, but once I started doing research for this video and I heard him say, quote, "Who does this guy think he is, Bruce Lee?" I just couldn't get past it, and the more you think about it, the weirder it is that he even knows who Bruce Lee is at all. Heck, at this point he had already been dead since before Iggy was even canonically born. That is, if Iggy is actually a dog and not a human soul stuck in a dog's body. So why in Dio's massive cache of breads would Iggy know anything related to dead movie stars? He also mentions Tweety Bird from Looney Tunes when referring to Pet Shop. So not only does he know what Looney Tunes are, but he also shows that he's capable of sarcasm, which is absolutely another human concept. At one point before his fight with Pet Shop, he thinks of a plan to, and I quote, "act like a dumb dog," which really just means acting like every other dog that we see. So according to Iggy himself, he has to consciously dumb himself down just to come off as a normal dog. I don't know. The whole thing stinks to me. Souls in JoJo are definitely more tangible than in real life. At different points in the story, we see souls leaving bodies, then returning. We see people that can contain two souls in their body at once. We see souls like Raimi that are really just ghosts, but still, it counts. We see souls doing a lot of wild things in JoJo, but the most pertinent to this discussion is in part 5, when Polnareff's soul ends up in Coco Jumbo. Rip Coco's soul, by the way. So, according to this, it is absolutely possible in the universe of JoJo to take a human soul and place it into an animal's body, and that soul also inherits the stand of said animal. Maybe Iggy was in a life or death fight, and his only option was to place his soul into his canine companion, or possibly a passing stray. I know it sounds crazy, but we clearly see in part 5 that it is totally possible. Yeah, it happens here because of Silver Chariot Requiem, but it's already pretty much been established, if you've ever watched Hamon Beat's video on the subject, that it wasn't some special Requiem arrow that caused this. It was simply what happens when an already existing stand or stand user is pierced with a stand arrow. Already a stand? Well, here's a new evolution that can do things like swap human souls into an animal. Now knowing how many arrows there are out there and how many are scattered around the world, I think it's entirely possible that Iggy, as a human, had a run-in with one, and at some point ended up having his soul switched into his pet dog. Call me crazy, but after seeing those exact circumstances play out in Part 5, well, call me a believer, because I'm definitely convinced. To me, this is the evidence that really clinches this theory for me. I mean, Iggy knows what a guard bird is. He even knows what machines are and the concept of how they function. Iggy thinks and acts like a human. If someone described Iggy on paper, listing out all of his quirks and personality traits, you would never know he was a dog. You would absolutely assume he was human. Because he is. Thank you for watching.